Okay, so that was a good job on that topic, guys. Let's kind of turn it around and let's talk about teams that have maybe disappointed you this season. Teams that maybe you thought were going to do well and really aren't, or teams that you thought were going to maybe take a jump and maybe necessarily aren't, just something like that. Stoney, what team do you think is not living up to expectations?
Not really. I didn't expect them to be. I didn't pick them to be that high, but I'm just disappointed in the Steelers and how they've just come out and just look so awful. They just look terrible. I know Antonio Brown had a great game last week, but they have no running game. Big Ben is literally running for his life back there. It would be a surprise if he makes it through the whole entire season the way his offensive line is blocking. The defense is getting old, but, they showed that, they can get stops, get their offense back on the field. But once their offense is back on the field, they just can't do anything because that offense is just so dysfunctional right now.
I'm going to have to say the Giants. I predicted them to, be up there in the running with Philly, with Washington. Washington's another huge disappointment. But I'm kind of disappointed in how Eli Manning seems to throw 3 picks a game. I mean, you can't win in this NFL if you're throwing 3 picks a game, and you're having to rely on your running game, which, they're relying on David Wilson right now, who fumbles at least once a game. So they're committing 4 turnovers right there, and you got to rely heavily on your defense. And I don't think, you say defense wins championships, but if your offense can't even get you points, defense can't help.
I'm not going to go with the team. I'm going to go with the division, and I'm going to go with the NFC East. They're my biggest disappointment, as I know we all predicted that they'd be a very competitive division. Now, as the Redskins and the Giants are 0-3, the Eagles are 1-2, and the Cowboys are 2-1. They're kind of a big disappointment to me, especially going against the AFC West. They're 0-4. They're 0-3, and if the Cowboys, if the Giants lose this Sunday, they'll be 0-4 against the AFC West. And I think that's just a big disappointment for the talent that they have over there, the coaching.
The Eagles play the Broncos this week, too, so if they lose that game, too, they'll be 0-5.
0-5. And, I'm pretty sure we all predict that to be a win for the Broncos.
Talk it up.
So, I think that's my biggest disappointment, that they've come out and just kind of looked flat as a division and not really competitive at all. So.
And the Giants and the Redskins are both 0-3, and they're not even out of it. People are still thinking they can come back and win this thing.
Exactly.
I think I'm going to have to go with my biggest disappointment. I'm going to have to go with the Arizona Cardinals. Getting a good quarterback like Carson Palmer, you would think they would have more firepower on that offense. You think that offense would be, slinging it all around. But they've been hit by injuries. Rashard Mendenhall is a former shell of who he used to be when he played, for the Steelers. And no one predicted them to, win the division, obviously, because you have 2 great teams in there. And the Rams, they can beat anyone on any day in that division. But the Cardinals were supposed to, show us something on offense with a better quarterback and Larry Fitzgerald, and their line was improved, and their defense was, one of the top defenses last year. And it's kind of been a disappointment that you're not seeing, more competitive games out of them. So I think that'd be mine.
Do you think that will be kind of stay the same throughout the course of the season, or do you think that towards the end of the season
I want to say I believe that they will get better, but if they don't, I wouldn't be surprised, because it seems like just everyone's not functioning together, which takes time. And I hope they get better. I'd love to see them competitive, give their fans and Arizona something to cheer for.
Originally, I was going to be on Kyle's boat and say the Giants, but after I thought about it, I think the biggest disappointment is the Redskins, and not necessarily because of RG3, because they've come back from injury. Not so much that. I'm more so disappointed because of their defense.
Oh, absolutely.
Because their defense last year wasn't great. Wasn't, out there, but they were missing. They had some injuries on there. Brian Arakpo came back this year, and you were expecting that with him back and him creating that pass rush with Ryan Kerrigan, London Fletcher back there. You got D'Angelo Hall still, and then back there you got Brandon Merriweather back. You'd think that they would improve a little bit, but now it seems like they've gotten worse. Like over the course of time, I know they have played a little stiff competition. Hopefully, they can bounce back against the Raiders. But that defense has looked absolutely horrible. They can't tackle. They can't cover nobody. They can't stop the run. They can't do anything. They're like the Saints of last year almost. They're almost on a record-breaking pace right now in terms of yards allowed. Mm-hmm. And they're putting the Redskins' offense in a hole, so they can't really even use their offense probably the way they want to with Alfred Morris, with RG3 running the ball. So I think that the Redskins' defense more so has completely disappointed me, and just like I don't even know who those guys are on the field right now. Yeah, any other comments you guys want to?
Any other disappointments?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that I also had the Vikings on my list as biggest disappointment. I mean, the necessary improvements kind of made for Christian Ponder, getting Greg Jennings, kind of getting some help from him, an extra year of experience for those wideouts, and Adrian Peterson, yes, making his bold statement, but we all know Adrian Peterson is capable of doing what Adrian Peterson's gonna do. But they, being 0-3 for them, it's kind of a big disappointment. Because making a playoff team coming out 0-3, that's a couple steps backwards, not just one. And him being out and having to make a change at quarterback, I think might hurt this team. But
we'll go with who do you guys think needs a win out of Pittsburgh, Washington, Giants, and the Vikings this week? Who do you think needs a win?
Well, they all need a win.
Needs to win more.
They all need a win. To be completely honest with you, I think that the Pittsburgh Steelers need the win the most. It's kind of hard because I think both the Vikings and the Steelers are in a tough division. The Giants and the Redskins, I think that they can come back. I think that they have a chance to still come back with the division. The Vikings and the Steelers, I mean, they have, the Bears, the Packers, the Vikings have to deal with. The Steelers have the Ravens and the Bengals to deal with in their division. So if the Steelers and the Vikings go 0-4, coming back and even competing in that division, because you still have to play the rest of those teams, it's not going to be easy. And I think the Steelers still have 5 more divisional games, and the Browns aren't going to be an easy out for the Steelers either. So I think the Steelers need to win the most. The Vikings probably a close second. But so this game in London is a big game for both those teams. It could be a turning point for the season.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to have to go with, if you're a team other than the Cowboys in the NFC East. Right now the Cowboys have shown they are the dominant team in the division. And if you're either the Eagles, Redskins, you need to get that first W to keep pace with them. Otherwise, they're looking like they're about to run away with it.
So you're saying the Giants?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with the Giants. I think that Eli Manning needs. I mean, we all know he's still got something in his tank. He's still got 2 great wide receivers there. The running back situation, kind of a mess, but.
Kind of a mess.
Well, I'm trying to be
cloudy to say the least.
You got your running back running through the hole like this.
So
He's scared to run with the ball.
I definitely think the Giants need to. Otherwise, they're just going to keep falling farther and farther behind in that division.
I'm going to say the Steelers for such a storied franchise. Kind of looking for an identity. I mean, they can't really pass the ball that well. They definitely can't run the ball. And, with the spark and Le'Veon Bell coming back to play this week, I think they need that win to kind of get that confidence back. They've had a few key injuries, and I think that's taken a toll. But I think for a franchise like the Pittsburgh Steelers, I think they need some confidence, and getting that first win is a long way to bringing them back.
I was going to say the Giants, but the Giants have showed us that they start off slow and end up, catching fire at the right time, given their 2 championships. So I'm going to say the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're looking old when they play. Their defense is not the staggering defense that we know from Pittsburgh, and to keep pace with the Bengals, who are getting improved each week. I mean, the big win over the Packers is shows their defense is stepping up. Their offense is not letting them lose games. The Ravens are Super Bowl champs. They got the benefit of the doubt right now over any team, no matter what their record is. I believe the Steelers have to keep pace in that division to have any kind of chance of making the playoffs and have any kind of chance of regaining that bit of that division at all, because they used to be dominant in that division. You would not mention that division without the Steelers, and now they're kind of an afterthought almost in that division.